2. Well, what do you know? Look at that. They let good old James Nichols back on the airwaves, dusting off the microphone here. And welcome to the Devils Rink Report live from the Prudential Center today, pregame against the San Jose Sharks tonight, 7 o'clock puck drop. And I appreciate you guys joining the chat, joining the channel. Devil's Rink Report will be live here once a week, every Friday, except next Friday on Halloween. I got duties with my kids. We'll maybe reschedule for the night before pregame again against the Sharks next week. But welcome to Devil's Rink Report. My name is James Nichols, Devils beat reporter, New Jersey Hockey Now, and thank you so much for being here today. Please consider leaving a like, leaving a subscribe, and joining me for future episodes here. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, right? Oh, Ryan just, launched his own channel. Now here comes James doing his. Yes, that's true. But you ask Ryan. Now, that's a show you should definitely go watch, by the way. Ryan's great. He's doing a great job, and I'm very proud of him. But you ask Ryan. We've been talking about this for years, long time. And, we're happy to finally get it off the ground. He motivated me a little bit. So here we are today. But I couldn't do this without producer Sean, my buddy Sean Harrington, who everything you see here, the bells, the whistles, the graphics, that's all him. So producer Sean, thank you so much. He's the man behind the scenes. Jump in here, Sean. Say hi. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah,
James, thank you so much for the introduction. I'm happy to take care of everything you need for this show, get it off the ground. Finally, not just an idea, but actually putting it into work. I'm happy to do that for you. And let's go Devils, as always.
Yes. You'll see his title is a Jack Hughes enthusiast.
Oh, yeah. And, I had to make a graphic for myself.
So I think with the way the season's going, that's certainly justified. But all right, today on the show we'll be talking some Jacob Markstrom. My good buddy David Pagnotta is joining us from the fourth period, and Daily Faceoff Insider Edition, a new venture he's on, and it's definitely a show you guys should check out. I check it out every Wednesday that he's live, and it's excellent stuff. So he'll be joining us today in just a moment. He's here on the line, and here he is, David Pagnotta, the fourth period DFO rundown, the Insider Edition. David, how are you?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. Thanks for having me, and congrats on the show.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Full circle moment here. I mean,
yeah, right.
We used to be together a little bit, and now you're here with me, and this is I couldn't be more thankful for you to have come and done this. So, with
Absolutely.
that, let's talk a little bit of Devils hockey here. And first and foremost, you are the man on the Jacob Markstrom situation. What do you know? What's the latest? And contract negotiations. What can you tell us?
Yeah, I mean. Thanks to Tom Fitzgerald for chatting with me and providing some of the insight here. When Markstrom went down, they kind of put a pause in negotiations simply because, I mean, both sides seem pretty confident that they're going to figure this out, and let's just have him focus on, rehabbing and getting back to it. And he's a little bit ahead of schedule by all accounts. So he's on the mend. He's on the road to recovery and ready to get back in it pretty soon here. And I suspect shortly after that is when the conversation is going to continue. Fitzy sounds pretty confident that he's going to be able to get this done. He wasn't talking in the what ifs. He wasn't referring to anything as a possibility or hope. It was, we're going to get this done. So I believe him. It's going to take a little bit of time. They have to go back and forth. I think the interesting thing about this, it's an older contract. In terms of 35 plus, he's going to be 36 next year. You can structure things a little bit differently, and adding in different incentivized bonuses, is going to play a role by all accounts in this contract. He'll have his base salary. I'm sure there's going to be some type of signing bonus, and then there's going to be different incentivized bonuses along the way. Games played, game starts, round by round achievements, et cetera, and all of that kind of has to be figured out in order to get to kind of that ultimate number. But Fitzgerald made it very clear to me that he wants to keep him, that the team wants to keep him, and by all accounts, from everything I've heard on the other side of it, the feeling is pretty much mutual. They just have to figure out more the structure of anything than the overall dollar value.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I know Markstrom loves it here in New Jersey. He's been very complimentary of it, and they've been very complimentary of him. There is the injury concern a little bit, David.
Yep.
Last year he was injured this year he was injured, but he looks, like you said, fine, and there's no worry with this injury. In fact, he was in the press box the other night on Wednesday, I believe, with Team Sweden's management, and they were
Yeah.
talking about how he's feeling and everything, and viewing a game, a lot of Swiss players against the Wild the other night. But he looks good walking around, and he was on the ice this morning. So, but my question to you, David, is do you think this is the right move here? I mean, like you mentioned, it's an older contract, 35 plus. They have Jake Allen signed for the next 5 years as well. I mean, depending on what the numbers look like, I guess is really what the answer to this would be. But is this the right move for the Devils to keep him at 35 plus for long term, like Jake Allen?
Well, I mean, look, I look at this in a variety of different ways. So first of all, with respect to the injury concern, that's why you elongated Allen's contract, right? You gave him more money overall, but you were able to spread it out. And they're confident in him. They're clearly confident in his abilities to come in and step in as a stopgap, as an in between when they need it, when he's out of the mix, when Markstrom's out of the mix. So that's one of the factors here. The other, you're right. This is going to come down to what the overall contract looks like. If this is a 5, I think overall, you're probably going to be midterm, and it's probably going to be a decent enough number. Now, I know, as some numbers have been reported, I know some Devils fans have kind of gone a little wacky about what the number is, but pump the brakes a little bit. The cap's going up. Everybody's numbers are going up. Everything is going to fit within their cap structure. They're not going to be overpaying Jacob Markstrom or anybody with the risk of it affecting the team's financial plans in a negative light next year, the year after, perhaps the year after that, and so on. And this goes across the board. Everyone needs to be prepared for higher numbers for a variety of players, for all players, really, as the seasons progress. I know we're not used to it yet, so that's why everyone's kind of going, well, $5 million for this guy, or $6 million, or whatever. We just have to kind of get used to it. But I think overall it's going to come down to what the term is. Are we talking 3 years? Are we talking 5 years? And what's the AAV? And how are the bonuses going to kind of come into light here? The other factor, who else is available? Right? Like, Gustafsson stayed in Minnesota. Looking at the pending UFAs, right now it's Stuart Skinner potentially leading the way. Are you more comfortable with him, or are you more comfortable with Jacob Markstrom? Are you going to go trade for another goaltender? Well, that's going to take pieces off the roster, obviously, and additional assets. So I think as from a short-term perspective, a 3 to 5 year term, and I might be more on the 3-year side personally, but I think right now with what he's capable of and what he's shown, you look at some of the goaltenders that have had longevity over their careers, they've been sustainable. I think he fits in that mix, and I don't think it would be a concern, quite frankly, based on how they've structured the entire roster.
Dave, I want to just let you know quickly. I'm not sure if you've peeked at your phone, but there has been a trade. I just wanted to let you take a look at that for a minute. Any comments on that real quick?
I haven't seen it. That might be, I don't know if you saw me. I was pressing a button. I'm using my phone. I was pressing a button here. So I don't know what the trade is, but please enlighten me.
Yeah, it's Lucas Reichel from the Blackhawks to the Canucks for a 2027 4th-round pick.
There you go. Well, I talked about it yesterday. I reported yesterday that Lucas Reichel was still very much out there, still very much a player that's looking to get traded. The Canucks were one of the teams that have poked around on him for a while, but they didn't want to give him away for like a 6th, 7th round pick, clearly. So they ended up with, you said a 4th-round pick? Yeah,
in 2027.
Right. So at least they get an asset, and Reichel gets a bit of a fresh start, a reboot in another environment where they need a guy. Niels Hoglander is out for a while. This is a good opportunity for Reichel and the Canucks to add something here.
Yeah, for sure. Back to the goaltending in New Jersey, though. You're right. The $5 million is the new $3 million, right? That's what maybe Markstrom is viewing it as, and as that cap continues to go up, we're projecting 104, maybe 107 million in a couple of years. It's going to be even less than that. But let me ask you about another goaltender in New Jersey. There was a lot of talk about Nico Daws before the season got underway, and he had to hit waivers, and there's teams looking at him and everything like that. Now, Jacob Markstrom seems to be returning soon, and he's going to come back under that 30-day threshold or 10-game threshold for Nico Daws. So he's not going to need waivers yet. But in the sense or the chance that he might need waivers at some point this season, if he ever does come back up, what do you know about the Nico Daws situation? Teams who maybe want to pluck him off of waivers or regret not having done so already.
I think a lot of teams have kind of solidified themselves with respect to, their goaltending in both the NHL and in the A. Barring injuries or if somebody just the wheels completely fall off, may look at Daws as a potential target later on. So we'll see kind of, how that goes. But this is also calculated on New Jersey side of things as well, right? Like you don't want to expose a player that's generating interest because you may lose them for nothing. Like Lucas Reichel, they didn't want to waive him. They didn't want to trade him for nothing because they knew they could get at least a piece back for him. Different circumstance because I think the Devils would like to hold on to Daws within the organization. But you have to do your due diligence on all sides of the spectrum. I think from the Devils' perspective right now, if this does become an issue later on in the season, they'll certainly reevaluate just to see where kind of the league is at and where other teams are at. But I don't get the sense, and there have been some other goaltenders available as well, I don't get the sense that it's a major issue or an eyebrow raiser right now for the club. I think a team like Vegas might be in a little bit more of a situation depending on what happens with Adin Hill. And once Carter Hart is ready to join the club, Akira Schmid has been great so far for the Vegas Golden Knights. They may be forced to carry 3 goaltenders on the roster moving forward here because of the Hart addition.
Devils fans know Akira Schmid well, former Devils goaltender. But yeah, for sure. I mean, it's one of those things that Devils fans are a little worried about. I mean, you saw what he did against the Wild the other night. He does tend to have these really good games in these tough moments where they need him in a pinch. And his first start of the season was real good against the Wild, give up 1 goal. And then he was just lights out that night. He made some spectacular saves. All right, a little bit elsewhere with the Devils now. You look at this team, David, and they are off to a scorching start, 6-1, 6-game win streak right now. They look great. But when you look at this team on paper, is there anything that you tell yourself this team probably needs to add this here?
Maybe as the season progresses. So you're looking at this team and what they bring to the table. They've got the offense, they've got the speed. There are some really key skilled players on this team. If they're going to make a bit of a run here later on and everybody's healthy, I look at bringing in those intangible championship caliber pieces that you look to bring. They don't need to bring in star power. At least in my opinion, they've got it. Especially if Jack's going to continue to do what he's doing. I saw him here in Toronto. I don't even know what day. Either this week or last week. I can't remember. But he looked great. The team looked really good. So I think you want to start to look to bring those intangible pieces that kind of have a little bit of jam that you need come playoff time. You look around and depending how Calgary goes the rest of the season, a guy like Blake Coleman, who has that energy, who has that jam in his lineup, is willing to be physical and grimy when he needs to be, but has also been there and brings that championship kind of pedigree with him. I look at a player like that who has some no trade protection, and it's way premature right now, so I'm not saying it's happening anytime soon, or if the Devils have even inquired or plan on it. But that's the caliber player that if I'm looking around the league, I'm looking at some of the bottom feeder teams to see where that caliber piece is and where some of those types of players that bring additional assets to the game outside of just pure skill come into play. So I think from their perspective, and they've got some wiggle room financially, I would look at that type of piece or something along those lines versus just looking at skill. Because again, they've got it. Like this is a very skilled team up and down the lineup. I would just look. I think if they're at the top of the standings or battling for first, come Olympic break or right after, I would look to add a little bit more of a responsible jam in the lineup by bringing in that caliber piece or something along those lines. Like you look at some of these teams, these championship caliber teams that have added key pieces before. Tampa's done it with adding Coleman and Goodrow before. Vegas did it by bringing in Ivan Barbashev, and so on and so on. So obviously Florida bringing in Marchand, that's a different ballgame. But those kinds of pieces, the Barbashevs and so on, really push their teams over the edge. I'd look at something like that.
You mentioned bottom feeders, and that just got me thinking. I was listening to a couple of shows earlier today talk about some teams who have not gotten off to great starts. I look at the Calgary Flames and I say, I wonder what they're going to do there. And one of the players I wonder about, Nazem Kadri. Is there a fit for him in New Jersey? We talk about a lot. Maybe the Devils need some elbow grease. Maybe they need a third line center. Maybe he's a guy who can play up in the lineup if you need him to. Is there a fit there?
Stylistically, player-wise, what he brings to the table, absolutely, I would try to make that happen. I just don't think they pay the price. Like, that's a premium. And I don't think they need to, quite frankly. I would rather go after either Coleman or something along those lines, for them. I know that the Islanders will be in the thick of it, and they're not going to trade JG Pagnotta to a divisional rival, but that's another potential in terms of type of player that I would be looking at. I like their top six. If I'm adding, it's again that energy type of physical player. But at the same time, if you can really stabilize your third unit, more so than really your bottom six, then those are the kind of pieces that that I would be looking at. But with respect to Kadri, look, every cup contender would love to get their hands on this guy. He's got a full no move right now. So he'll ultimately decide what he wants to do, and he's got 3 more years left on his contract after this year. But it's going to cost a lot for any team to pry him out of Calgary, even if the Flames are in another position where they'll entertain calls. They've done it before. It was more in the offseason where they at least entertain calls, but they'd have to completely be blown away by an offer. And I think the same applies now.
I got 2 more here for you, Dave. So you mentioned, it's going to cost a lot, and the Devils are hoarding assets. I think we might know why. We talk a lot about Quinn Hughes and his tie to the Devils, but let's zoom the lens in a little further, though. I mean, are Quinn Hughes and Dougie Hamilton tied together in the sense that one thing can't happen without the other? And is that even something that you could see on both ends, Quinn Hughes to New Jersey or Dougie Hamilton leaving New Jersey in season?
Theoretically, mathematically, yes. It makes sense. But I don't see a scenario where Vancouver entertains that now. If they entertain anything involving Quinn Hughes now, it's because Quinn Hughes has gone to them and said, I'm not signing. Forget it. I'm out. In 2 years, I'm out. So if you want to figure out a trade, let's figure this out. What he said before the season started, I can't remember who, I don't know if it was Elliot Friedman or somebody. But he said, come July 1, when I'm able to sign, you'll see what I want to do. I'm paraphrasing, but something along those lines. I know a lot of people took that as, all right, I'm not going to sign July 1 because that's the first time and he's going to leave. I took that differently. I took that from the other end of the spectrum going, look, everybody's thinking I'm going to take off. Wait till July 1 and then you'll see what my real intentions are. To me, that means he would sign. Now, I don't think he's made a decision one way or another. And Quinn zeroed in on this season, and I think they're 500 right now, 4-4-1 or something along those lines. And now they just added Reichel. So, let's see how this team kind of performs as the season moves along. But hypothetically, exclusively hypothetically, from a mathematical perspective and just from a roster usage side of things and space, you bring in a guy like Quinn Hughes, you're probably going to have to move out a guy like Dougie Hamilton. And we've heard his name before, Hamilton's name. I'm sure we're going to hear it again because of his contract. And if they are looking to be a little bit flexible, that provides an option in terms of moving a body out, a high-priced body out in order to bring a high-priced body in. I would just handle this with very sensitive hypothetical gloves.
Yeah, for sure.
For now, anyway.
I hear you on that. Last one here for you, Dave. So you mentioned you saw the Devils in Toronto the other night. You saw them play a pretty convincing game. Is it overreaction season, or are the Devils legit and the 6-1 start is legit?
Look, is winning 6 of 7 sustainable the rest of the season? Probably not. But they look good. They look really, really good. I mean, from the opposite side of the spectrum, do I want to look at the Maple Leafs and go, man, what the hell were they doing that night? Like, I don't think they're as bad as they performed. I don't know if New Jersey's as good as they performed that night because they really controlled the pace of play for a good chunk of that game. But I think that for the most part, that style of play is pretty sustainable. Stay healthy. This team is dangerous. I think they've proven that. And the setbacks, you don't want to use injuries as an excuse, but sometimes it's just the reality of the situation. I had them in the Cup final last year, and Jack had to get hurt, so that ruined a lot of things for a lot of people.
Right.
And I'm tongue in cheeking this one, but like if this team stays healthy, they could do a lot of damage. And again, I like what they bring. I like the pace of play because at certain points of the game, they can put pedal to the metal and just be resilient with that. And it almost kind of catches some teams a little bit off guard, at least so far, where it's just nonstop, go, go, go. And then they kind of, ease up a little bit and then they do it again. So again, the skill level on this team coupled with their speed is going to make this team very dangerous. How sustainable that is, we all know that, second half of the season, especially down the stretch, things get a lot tighter and a lot more physical. So let's see how things adjust from that perspective. But maybe Fitzy brings in some help in that area in the second half of the season. We'll see. But overall, so far, so good. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
You're listening to David Pagnotta, everybody, on the Devils Rink Report. David, thank you so much for coming on today and being part of the inaugural launch of Devils Rink Report. And we'll have to have you again. I'll be reaching out.
All right. Can't wait, buddy. Take it easy. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. All right, Dave Pagnotta, there he goes. You can hear him on the Fourth Period's YouTube channel, which will be definitely uploading some more. You can hear him on Daily Faceoff. You can hear him on NHL Network. You can hear David Pagnotta everywhere. He is the NHL's insider on multiple different outlets. So definitely, follow him at the Fourth Period, read his work, and subscribe to his content too. All right, so just want to get to a couple of talking points here before we get to the chat. So if you do have questions that you want answered, please make sure to drop them in the chat, and I will be happy to get to it. Like I said, here live from the Prudential Center before Devils puck drop with the San Jose Sharks tonight, 7 o'clock. A couple news and notes from this morning. Cody Glass looks like he's going to be out a little bit longer than anticipated. He was a game time decision on Wednesday, but looks like it's a little worse than they anticipated. So Sheldon Keefe said he hopes it's just a matter of weeks. Hopefully it doesn't go into the months category. So it's something that we're monitoring. But on the good news side of it is Jacob Markstrom was working with the team. So that was his first practice morning skate with them since he was injured, and he is anticipated to practice with the team tomorrow. So we will see how that trend continues. We'll see how much longer Nico Daws is sticking around because again, he was immaculate for the Devils in that last start for Jake Allen, who started the night previous. So, we'll see what happens there. Obviously, no waivers for Daws yet. He needs to meet that 30-day threshold, 10-game threshold if he is going to require it. At the moment, he doesn't, so he'll be safe for now. All right, so let's talk about what we have seen so far this season. The Devils are firing on all cylinders. Obviously, opening night, they suffer that loss to the Carolina Hurricanes, but since then, they're rifling off the wins. I want to talk about Timo Meier for a minute. He's probably, look, everybody loves to watch Jack Hughes. I get it. Everyone loves to watch Jesper Bratt. Totally understand. My favorite player to watch night in and night out is Timo Meier. We've been waiting for this version of Timo Meier. He thinks it's March, I believe. So that's great. He's scoring goals and he's doing it swimmingly. But he does everything. I mean, he's the kind of guy who, he can control the pace of play, kind of like Jack. He has excellent underrated skating ability in my opinion. But he also gets into the corners. He wins his puck battles. He plays disruptor. He's blinding the goaltender and he's cleaning up the garbage, or he can shoot the puck with the best of them. So Timo Meier, just wanted to give him his flowers a little bit. He's off to a great start to the season, and this is exactly what the Devils paid for when they traded all those assets to get him. He and Nico are on a different level. I mean, talk about responsibility in all three zones. They are providing it. The Meyer and Nico Mercer line have been one of the tops in the NHL thus far. It's good to see Dawson Mercer scoring the way he is. He's got 7 points in 7 games as part of that top 6, and he filters in and out on that power play unit. Jack and Brat, peanut butter and jelly, obviously look excellent this year. You you have 3 goals from Jack the other night. You have 3 assists from Jesper Bratt. I mean, that's just what you should come to expect at this point. And just making sure that we put the disclaimer there that Jack Hughes is healthy, and then God forbid Jack Hughes isn't healthy and he goes down. You could just count on Jesper Bratt to continue to carry the water here for the Devils. Is it a matter of time until we see Gritsuk on on Jack Hughes's wing and Jesper Bratt's wing? Listen, I think that Arseniy Gritsuk has all the talent in the world, and I'm really liking what I see from him. I did say, and I'm on record saying this, that he could put himself in the Calder conversation. Is he going to win it? No. Everybody sees what this kid Schaefer is doing on Long Island. Michael Misa, we're going to see him tonight. He is a top talent. But Gritsuk is could be in the conversation. I mean, Sheldon Keefe said it the other night. This guy is an all-around complete player. I was so impressed to see him back check Leon Draisaitl the other night and force a turnover there. He scores his first NHL goal. That was a hell of a shot on the power play, and he had no hesitation. Right, the puck comes to him off the draw, and he just doesn't hesitate and shoots it right away off balance, and he still scores. And then you look at, even before he scored his goal, he had a couple of assists. I think it was 3. And you look at his distribution. You're like, this guy can do it all. He's the total package. So I saw a funny, I think we're calling it a meme, right? I saw a meme earlier today that was, the player that you wanted him to be, and it was Nikita Gusev versus the player he is, or something like that. And it's Arseniy Gritsuk, just comparing the two, meaning that Gritsuk is meeting the expectations, whereas Nikita Gusev unfortunately didn't. He had a great first year with the Devils, but never came to fruition, and ultimately went back to Russia to play pro hockey there. Moving on, the wing depth has been great. Connor Brown's addition is looking like one of the steals of the offseason, and the team loves having him in the locker room, on the ice. He does everything. He's a Swiss Army knife. I covered the Islanders for a while, and when they got JG Pagnotta, I said he does a little bit of everything, and I feel like Connor Brown is a similar player, just much faster. So Connor Brown, he's been excellent, really important part of this team right now. And then, of course, we have to talk about the special teams. I mean, starting with the penalty kill, 20 for their last 21 kills. There's no chance for the opposition on the power play to score here. They are keeping all of the shots to the perimeter, low danger chances, forcing turnovers. They're a +2. They're a +2 on the penalty kill, scoring shorthanded goals. Jesper Bratt scored one. I can't remember who scored the other, but it was Connor Brown. It was Connor Brown. So it's just excellent stuff that you're seeing here from the penalty kill. Now, the power play, it's been good. I don't want to complain, and I'm not going to complain about the power play. It's been good. 1 for 4, that's a good night, right? If you go 0 for, that's tough. You got to get back to and play a bit better. This is the National Hockey League, but 1 for 4 is a good night. However, I will say this: I have a little bit of a concern there with the power play, only because of this rotation that Keefe has continued to talk about that he's going to keep doing. It's dependent upon matchups. So one night you'll see power play 1 QB Dougie Hamilton. Another night you'll see power play 1 QB Luke Hughes, or you'll see Timo Meier on power play 1, or you'll see Dawson Mercer on power play 1. I'm just not sure that that's the recipe. Now, it could be, right? I'm just a reporter. Sheldon Keefe is the coach. Jeremy Colleton is running the special teams units. They are the minds ultimately in the league. That's why I'm here and they're there, right? But how often have we seen a rotating power play, unless there's an injury that you need to replace somebody, right? So that's my one concern there, is just what are they going to do if it falls cold? Are they going to start to leave certain guys together and let them try to gel, or are they going to keep doing this rotation? Now, I personally think, you heard me give Timo Meier his flowers earlier. I think he should certainly always be on power play 1, setting up in that right circle and just ripping shots, creating either scoring chances for himself or scoring chances for the power play unit, because his shot is so heavy. It's so elite that he will either score or create a rebound for somebody in front to clean up that garbage, whether it's Nico Heischer or if they stick Dawson Mercer at the net front, because that is something that Mercer can do, is play net front. I think that Timo Meier needs to be in that right circle at all times. All right, a couple other notes here. Offensive zone play has been dominant, obviously, right? I mean, they're just controlling the puck, maintaining the puck so well, and that's actually running through the forecheck. It's running through winning their puck battles. It's running through the neutral zone, that they're gaining puck possession again and just sending it back to the offensive zone. So it's been excellent to see. Brendan Dillon, what's going on with him, buddy? My buddy Ryan Novozinski, you all know him well. He said to Sheldon, he kind of chuckled when he said it. What's going on with Brendan Dillon? All Sheldon Keefe could say was he's hot, 2 goals in 2 games. And look, he's been great on all accounts. I mean, I have seen some of the discourse on him. Oh, he's not that great defensively. And, maybe he gets sidestepped here and there. I love what Brendan Dillon brings. He brings an element that this team needs, a little bit of elbow grease. He brings some physicality, but, seeing what he's doing with the Nemitz pairing, I think they've been strong, especially as a third pair. You can't complain about what you're getting right now from Brendan Dillon. We mentioned Jake Allen. We mentioned Nico Daws with David earlier. They're playing fantastic right now. Don't rush Markstrom back, but it doesn't seem like they are. It seems like, this was a precautionary thing, that they had him out this long. And I think that's why he was only out this long to begin with, was because last year, they saw that, he came back and he didn't look like himself for a little bit. I think this year they want to make sure, okay, take the time you need. Jake Allen's holding it down. Nico Daws is doing well as the backup, and we don't need you to rush back right now. We'll be okay. We need you, just not right now, where we are okay to work with what we have. Last item on the agenda, Devils ranked number 5 on NHL.com's Super 16, just behind the Golden Knights, the Avalanche, the Hurricanes, and the Jets. And look, I mean, that's elite company. And this team right now is firing on all elite cylinders. So they look great. The teams in front of them look great, and it's just a matter of time where until they just keep, moving up here on the in those rankings, so long as they can sustain this style of play. You heard David say it. He thinks they can. You're going to hear me say it. I think that they certainly can. And if they want to take that next step this season, they should sustain this play. And that's the thing with this Devils team this year is, the thing I notice about them the most, and we talk about it so much this year, maturity. And it's true. It's true. They just look like a much more mature team. Now, I know I wrote the other day that Sheldon Keefe isn't buying it yet. We're just 7 games in. There's so many more to go. But, what is maturity? And I understand that sentiment. But from looking at this team in years past, right, just the notion of looking like they had a grenade on the end of their stick and trying to get rid of it as fast as they can. Instead, this year, right, you're looking at guys who are carrying the puck, not worried about, holding on to the possession, skating it through the neutral zone, making smart, crisp passes. These are nobody's looking like they're frantic with the puck. And I think that's a real testament to the growth of the core here, that they're just maturing in a way that we haven't seen before. And it's looking real promising so far. So, all right, quick notes for the game tonight. So 7:00 puck drop against the San Jose Sharks, who just took it to the New York Rangers last night. So they're on the second game of a back-to-back. So they're coming in with some tired legs. Now, they're a very young team, right? Macklin Celebrini, Will Smith, Sam Dickinson. Those are some of the younger guys. I believe Yaroslav Askarov is going to be in net for them. So they're coming in very young, which means that this is a trap game for the Devils, right? Last season, obviously, the Sharks were an easy win, except for the Devils, who didn't beat them last season. This year, and especially tonight on this 6-game win streak going for 7, they cannot fall for the trap game here. They have to treat this game just like they have when the Wild came in, when the Oilers came in, when the Florida Panthers came in, right? These are certainly steps that you want to see this team take. Do not take anyone lightly in this league. Collect as many points as you can. and get to April with as much as possible, because you want home ice. You want to be able to have that advantage to get to the second round, to get to the third round. And giving away points against the Sharks of the league or the Blackhawks of the league. Look, those are up and coming teams, but you didn't see the Colorado Avalanche coughing up those points last year. You didn't see the Golden Knights coughing up those points last year. You want to be able to say that about the Devils. And tonight is the first real test like that, because they haven't seen any bottom feeders yet. Columbus they saw, but they're up and coming. They look real good. And that's it. It's been a gauntlet since then. So that's what you want to see from the Devils tonight. You want to see them play the same exact game they've been playing, the same exact confidence, the same exact speed, the same exact forecheck, all that. And you know what? Let's get an extra goal or two on the power play tonight. All right, so let's get to questions from the chat. Producer Sean's going to pull up the first few comments that we see here, and even Sean, if there's something from earlier in when David was on and we didn't get to it, just throw it up there too. So RJ.L says, here's my question: is there truth to the Tage Thompson trade rumors and New Jersey inquiring? If so, what would New Jersey possibly give up? Would a 26, 27 first, or 26 and 27 first, Casey, Edwards, Palat, Haminaho, Malik do it? I feel like maybe. I mean, that's a lot to give up, right? A 2026 and 2027 first is a lot. And then Seamus Casey, he looks, like he's going to be an NHL defenseman in this league. So, that plus Edwards, who looked real well. Haminaho looks real well, and Malik looks, like he could be a future starter in this league. I could do it, but I think that would be giving up a lot of assets. So I'm not sure that they want to give up that much. I know it's Tage Thompson, but you also have to get Andre Palat to agree to this trade, which I don't think he's waiving for Buffalo. Producer Sean, what else do we got here? Jay Snow says, I don't like that Gritsuk is on Jack's wing. They need a guy who's going to sit in the blue paint and muck it up in the corners, and he's a better fit on Nico's line. That's a good point. And I think that's well said. That's why Andre Palat is on that line right now. That's the reason why he continues to see first line minutes. As much as you guys might not like that, that's exactly what the coaches are looking at. Someone to muck it up in the corners and do all the little things. I know we say that so many times, the little things, but somebody to do those things that Jack and Brad don't have to do, because somebody else is doing it, right? And it opens up the ice for them. It frees them up to play with the puck more, to generate that offense. So that is true. And if it's going to be somebody who's coming from the outside, I'm not sure who that player is right now. But I do know, and I have been saying this and you can ask Ryan, and you can go over to his chat after the game tonight and say to him, Nichols said this. I have been saying, since the Devils traded Tyler Toffoli, they have been missing his services for a long time. And now, is he exactly a muck it up in the corner kind of guy? No, but he is the kind of player who he knew exactly where to be when Jack had the puck or Jesper Bratt had the puck on his stick, and he just scored goals. 35 goal pace from that guy, and they never replaced it. I do wonder if that is maybe something that the Devils revisit. Tyler Toffoli, could he come back? That would be something that I think that they should at least look into. That contract is very digestible, and he's as advertised. He's not the fastest. He's not even the most skilled, but he finds the spot on the ice. He's a smart player, finds the right spots. He gets open and he scores. And that's what you want on on Jack and Jesper's line. What else we got here, Sean? Captain THC says, I'd rather Fitz wait until Quinn is a UFA so we can get him without giving up any players. That is a good point. Now, look, we all want to believe that Quinn really wants to play with his brothers and there would be nobody else for him in free agency except for New Jersey, right? He's only got eyes for his brother. He's only got eyes for the Devils. But look, money talks. And who knows how much the cap is going to go up by that time, right? We know it's going up to 104 at least. We know it might go up to 107, but let's say it goes up to 110. Let's say it goes even higher than that, right? Then you're talking about, well, maybe somebody else is going to pay me upwards of $22 million. Maybe I'm the highest paid player in the league for a little while, right? So I do think that the Devils would want to get their hands on him sooner rather than later, but we'll see how that plays out there. Don't want to take any wild guesses here. What else we got here, Sean? How did the Devils suppress shot totals? Okay, so this is a great question. So the other night, we were talking to Nico Daws about, you made some really good saves out there. You were seeing a lot of pucks. He said, yeah, except for the ones that I didn't. It was because the guys in front of me were just laying the body on the line, right? Blocking so many shots, but they do also a really good job of keeping it tight. There's a diamond, right? When you see them in the defensive zone, there's a diamond or a square that they form in, and they keep all of these shots to low danger areas of the ice. So you see a lot of these shots coming from above the dots or along the far walls, or in these areas where the chances of a goal are quite low. So they're able to do that by, one, keeping those shots in low danger areas, but number two, it's hard to shoot the puck when you don't have it, and the Devils always have the puck, and that's part of that solution. Beachmaster, is that the Devils are holding the puck so often that the other teams are not able to get more than 25 shots in a game, and it's impressive to see. All right, what else we got here? Or are we looking at the last of the okay, we got another one from Captain THC. Don't even think about extending Markstrom until we see what he does this season as a whole. Still don't think it's wise to extend him. Yeah, look, I get the concern, right? It really depends on what the number comes in at. It depends on the term, stuff like that, right? I know it's cliche to say, like, we have to wait and see what happens, with the number and the term, and when do they make this offer to Markstrom, that do they want to put it on the table now? Do they want to put it on the table later? Look, you heard David earlier say, like, look, who's going to be out there for them if they don't sign Jacob Markstrom? And that's a true statement, right? There's a lot of goaltenders that are locked up, and a lot of teams around the league. Look, goalies are not a dime a dozen around here. They're a hot commodity, but they're such limited availability of quality goaltenders. And now, especially in today's day and age, you need two at least, right? And the Devils, they're fortunate to have three quality goaltenders at the moment who are able to provide the chance to win on each and every night. So again, I understand the concern. There is an injury history there, and you don't want that to happen again. But look, we saw what Jacob Markstrom did last year from November to December. He has the ability to steal games, and I know there's been a lot of talk about, he's a starter, but is he an elite starter? When he's on, he's like Vezina caliber. When he's off, I get it, but when he's on, he has that ability to steal games. So depending on the number, I don't think it's the wrong move. Do you want him through his age 40 season? Maybe not, but we'll see. All right, Sean, let's do one or two more, and then I think we're going to wrap it up here. We've got some pregame stuff to do, but thank you so much for joining the Devils Rink Report here with myself, David Pagnotta, as a guest, and Sean Harrington, producer Sean, today. We're going to do a couple more questions here. Please do us a favor, too, and like and subscribe and come back for next week's content. And there's going to be plenty of content rolled throughout the week from our producer here, who's doing an excellent job so far. Jay Snow says, are they going to go with the same lineup from the other night? Yes, they are. There are no changes, except for, I believe, Jake Allen is going to start. So same lineup as the other night. And let's do one or two more here. What do we got, Sean? All right. Here's a question from Captain THC. This guy has been all over the chat. Love to see it, THC. Thank you for being here. Okay, here's a question nobody's asking. What if American economy crashes sometime soon? Is there any chance that the cap goes back down if fans can't afford to go to games? That's above my pay grade, that question. I don't really know too much about the American economy and how it's going to affect the North American budget for the NHL. But listen, these owners, and especially for the Devils, they're one of the richest owners in all of sports. I don't think it's going to have too much of an impact on pro sports. So probably a meme question, I think. So, but that was an interesting one for sure. We got any others here, Sean? All right. So it looks like we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for joining us on the pilot episode of Devils Rink Report with James Nichols, myself, from New Jersey Hockey Now, Devils beat reporter, producer Sean. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please do us a favor, like and subscribe. The more you guys like, the more you guys subscribe, the better this content can get for you. So help me help you guys in providing more stuff. And look, I'm really happy to be doing this year. I'm really happy to be providing the expanded Devils coverage to the fans. I know for such a long time, they were waiting for stuff like this, and I'm really happy that Ryan has a show like this now. I'm really happy to launch this one myself. Daniel Amoya, who's another friend of mine, he runs an excellent podcast. Go check out his as well. But this is gonna roll all season. We're gonna continue pumping out the content. So the more you're around, the more you chat it up, the more you like and subscribe to this kind of thing. It's only going to benefit you guys more, because then we can keep doing more. So thank you so much for joining Devils Rink Report today. Thank you so much for being here for the pilot episode, and we will see you all next week. Mark it on your calendars put a little question mark next to it, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Thursday night before puck drop against the San Jose Sharks on the road. So we're going to look at like maybe 8 p.m. there. So put it on your calendars. We'll see you next week, Thursday, for Devils Rink Report. My name is James Nichols, and we'll catch you next time.